inshallah. I need your help.
Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li waziran min ahli Harun akhi washdud bihi azri washriku fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nazkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira Rabbi awzini an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya wa an a'mala salihan tardahu وادخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome friends, we will continue with the 15th ray from the book The Rays. We are on page 622. We kind of concluded last time from this section of the Arabic piece of divine power. And this particular section is about mostly how we can understand and see in the universe the qualities of divine knowledge, will, and power at the same time. So all these manifestations of these qualities are prevalent and should be comprehensible to the conscious human beings. Whenever we look into investigate the universe, we wonder about it, we see that everything in the creation shows the signs that whoever made it knows about it, shows his knowledge, shows his will, intention that he intended, and it comes into existence, and power to give it, to bring it out into existence. So the author started first with the divine knowledge, then he went into divine will, where he said kun fayakun in the Quranic verse. Everything that comes into being, because we wills it and it is. There's no work or anything that has to be done. Like if we want to do something, we have to do some labor. It takes time and energy and effort and time within time and space, and we get the result. But for the absolute will and power, it just instantaneously happens. Must be so. So I'll reread this Arabic piece, inshallah. So the Arabic piece about divine power. So God is most great through his power and will, greater than all things. For he is powerful over all things with absolute, all-encompassing power, necessary and intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence. It is impossible that the opposite of his power should intervene in it, for it has no degrees. So his power, his knowledge has no degrees. All the qualities prevalent in the universe, like when we do something, we do see degrees, levels, but an absolute has, by definition, also must have no degrees. And they are intrinsic. It's basically power is him, will is him, knowledge is him, So they're intrinsic to his being. And I don't know what this means. It is impossible that the opposite of his power, so there is no opposite. Like everything else to his power is basically opposite, so created, so they cannot intervene in that power. So up to here, I will pause. Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
Now, this statement, it has no degrees, is important because the way the universe is given existence demonstrates that in order to be able to give existence to one thing, how small, how insignificant it is, doesn't matter. To give existence to one thing in its place, in its location, in its relationship with the rest of its environment, necessitates that the power, the knowledge, the will must be able to create the whole universe so that accordingly the one who creates this must be able to locate it in its right place. So the one who creates the whole universe cannot be the same nature of the universe, and so we can only describe this power, this will, as infinite, impossible, infinite, not limited. So if it is infinite, and then in order to create one small thing, an infinite power is needed. How can we talk about somehow more, less, 90% power, 80% power? We cannot talk. Always we have to say infinite. So if it is infinite, there should be no degree. Because for infinite, we cannot talk about degrees, more powerful, less powerful. It's absolute power, finish. Period. Absolute power, period. That is what this absolute has no degrees is important, because how we should understand the universe in a way that it makes sense to me, I should say, I will understand that only the one who can create the whole universe can create this fly. Because the creation of the fly is interrelated with the whole content of the universe, with every system. Because the universe exists within an order, within a balance, which is perfectly interwoven with each other, interrelated with each other. So you cannot separate it. You cannot say that, oh, in order to create half of this universe or one star in the universe, you need this amount of power. No, absolute power. I think this power or knowledge or the qualities of the creator have no degrees is important to notice. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you, Brother Ali. So no degrees, no high, low, or anything like that, which is our human or created concepts. So anything that comes into existence can only happen based on absolute power, will, with no degrees. So equal before it are particles and stars, particulars and universals, because it's absolute, so everything is either small or large. Anything to bring into existence is the same. no degrees. The part and the whole, the seed and the tree. So both the seed, although small, the tree, which is large, is the same. The world and man. The whole earth and man, one man. Through the mystery of the observable, utterly perfect order, balance, distinction, and precision. So observable order that we see in the universe, the balance, distinction, precision, together with the ease in the absolute abundance, speed and intermingling. We kind of touched upon this yesterday as well, the ease and abundance and speed. And through the mysteries of luminosity, transparency, reciprocity, balance, order and obedience, and through the mysteries of the assistance of unity. Through the mysteries of the assistance of unity. So we looked at divine unity yesterday also in terms of how with absolute ease and speed, someone only the one who possesses all the qualities at an absolute level could bring anything into existence. So the assistance of unity, facility of unity, and the manifestation of oneness. So this is the other phrase. Through the mystery. So this is going into the unity and oneness of that absolute being, which brings along with it ease and speed. And through the mysteries of necessity, total detachment, necessity, total detachment, and complete otherness of essence. And through the mysteries of unrestrictedness or infinite, not being bound by space and indivisibility. So that was the other thing we looked into, the infinite not being divisible, so indivisibility. There you can now say, okay, this is the half of it. For example, a number line in maths, you can say, okay, 1 to 10, 5 is the half. But no, infinite is infinite. There's no division or divisibility in it. And through the mysteries of the transformation of obstacles. Okay, before I go there, Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
No, this word indivisibility reminded me to think about any creature, especially animate beings, which are animals and plants. I've never seen any animal which is not complete in its existence. All of them are perfect. So we cannot really divide them into pieces. Perfect whole. All of them are perfect whole. So it is, we have to think of this with the term which is used here, total detachment, just about this indivisibility, and completely otherness of essence. Now, none of the, even the insects, animate beings, are mixed with each other. If you, let me explain this, what I mean by it. Every being has its own individual characters, individual being. So they are, for example, if we look at two human beings, we know that each of them has been created with special characteristics. So we are human beings altogether, but two people are completely different from each other in their own particular creation, complete otherness of essence. I am nothing to do with you in my own world. You are nothing to do with me in my own world, in your own world. We are completely from each other, from different from each other, and at the same time we are separated from each other, but in our creation, every creation is perfectly total and perfect, and nothing is missing in it, in my creation, in your creation. These are amazing characteristics of creation that I wanted to share with you.
Thank you. So all these characteristics in creation points to the power, knowledge, will, being infinite and absolute. So total detachment, of course, I mean, created versus the creator, total detachment as well. Complete otherness of essence. And through the mysteries of unrestrictedness, not being bound by space and indivisibility. Okay. And through the mysteries of the transformation of obstacles and obstructions into means of facility. And through the mystery of the intuition that the particular, the part, the seed, and man are not inferior as regards to the art and eloquence of the star, to the star. And that the creator of the universal, the whole, the tree, and the world is the creator of the former. So complete creation, former, latter, it's just universal and particular. And through the mystery of the surroundings and wholes, inevitably being in the grasp of the creator of the things which are surrounded and the parts, like the miniature inscribed beings similar to them, or milked, extracted droplets. For they and their likes are included in the former, with the balance of his knowledge, or are milked from them in accordance with the principles of his wisdom. So this going into the universal and the particular, I think that's what he calls the former. The whole, the tree, and the world is the creator of the former. So the seed, man are equal. Everything in creation is equal. Through the mystery of the surroundings and wholes. So whoever creates or gives existence must know the whole surrounding, must know each and every other aspect to bring anything into existence. We must know the whole universe as a whole, and including whatever is particular to the plant, for example. It's all within the same scope. Any point anyone would like to make on this? This from here. The intuition that the particular, the part, the seed, and man are not inferior as regards to art, to that of the creator of the universal, the whole, the tree. So it's all encompassing. And through the mystery of a Quran of dignity, inscribed with particles of ether, on an atom or minutest particle, not being of less eloquence or wondrous art than a Quran of grandeur, written with the ink of the stars and suns on the page of the heavens. Similarly, through their relation to the power of the universe's creator, the blooming rose not being of less eloquence and art than the star Venus, nor the ant being inferior to the elephant, nor the microbe inferior to the rhinoceros, nor is the bee inferior to the date palm. Moreover, the extreme ease and speed in the creation of things cause the people of misguidance to confuse formation with self-formation. So this confusion of formation with self-formation happens when with the whole, how the things are coming into existence with extreme ease and speed. It confuses as if they are just happening by themselves or they're changing by themselves. When everything from the small to the large, particular to universal, everything is the same, equal, or something that is infinite, absolute. There's no comparison of greater, smaller, bigger. Everything is equal in terms of his knowledge, power, and will. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Our friends are not speaking. Unfortunately, and I keep speaking, and I'm a bit ashamed of it. Always I say something, but of course, if they have anything, I would like to hear them. The example, writing the Quran on an atom. This the Quran may be inscribed, written on an atom, is not inferior if you write a Quran with the stars. They are both superior because each of them is complete within themselves. This example reminded me, all the message of the Quran is written, in fact, in the existence of an atom. And also the same message can be seen written in the face of the sky altogether. It means whole universe. What does it mean? The source of existence is such that if you look at an atom, you can acknowledge it is being absolute. If you look at if you study the galaxies, you can acknowledge that the creator of the galaxies must be absolute. If you study the atom, you understand, or a particle, you understand that the creator of the particle must be absolute. There is no superiority, inferiority when we look at the whole universe or a piece of it. That is an obvious example that the creator of the universe must be absolute. Why? At every level, we see the same qualities manifesting themselves. We see that volumes of books are written about galaxies, as well as volumes of books are written, people are studying particles. And no one can say that we arrived at the end. Still endless. Studies are going on. Thousands of academicians are working on particles. Thousands of academicians also are working on what the galaxies are sending the rays and analyzing these rays and trying to understand what is going on in far away part of the universe. Thousands of academicians are busy studying with all these. And none of them says that, okay, we finished now, we are closing the department. No, they are opening more and more subdivisions. That is so obvious that the creation is so that we can only conclude the qualities manifested in the existence of everything at every level demonstrates that these qualities must be absolute. That's what I understood.
Thank you, Brother Lee, for sharing that. So, moreover, the extreme ease and speed in the creation of things causes the people of misguidance to confuse formation with self-formation, which necessitates innumerable impossibilities and is a delusion. While it proves to the people of guidance that in relation to the power of the universe's creator, particles and stars are equal. May his glory be exalted, for there is no God but he. God is most great. Now, before giving a translation of this Arabic piece, which we read in English, from the point of view of the truly vast question of divine power and a brief meaning of it, I shall disclose a truth which was imparted to me. It was like this. The existence of divine power is more certain than the existence of the universe. Indeed, singly and altogether, creatures are the embodied words of power. They demonstrate its existence with the vision of certainty. So they demonstrate divine power's existence with the vision of certainty. They testify to their number to the absolutely powerful one, the one qualified by it. There is no need to prove that power with further proofs. But because it is one of the most important bases of faith and the most necessary means to understanding the Quranic truths, and as claimed by the verse, your creation and your resurrection is but as a single soul. which is from Quran, section 31, verse 28. And because not everyone has found the way to it, to understand this divine power, will, knowledge, through the use of reason. Some people have remained bewildered and uncomprehending before power, and others have denied it. And it is therefore necessary to prove an awesome truth concerning it. So what is the author really telling here? I'm wondering. So of course, divine existence of divine power is on his mind right now, and he's sharing some truths related to that. And he makes a claim here that existence of divine power is more certain than the existence of the universe. So is that so? Why is he pointing that out? That because so the existence of the universe is visible and available to us. We can confirm it immediately. We're saying the existence of divine power is more certain. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Can we understand this statement as because we experience the world through our physical senses, by eye, hearing, touching, physical relationship, whereas the existence of the divine power, excuse me, our logical conclusion. So logical conclusion is confirmed by our feelings, whereas my touching, my seeing the things, and not as guaranteed as as far as my feelings, my intelligence is concerned, as the conclusion of my feelings, my intelligence. So, for example, when you touch something, you may misinterpret it. You may misunderstand it. But your logical conclusion is an abstract conclusion. Abstract conclusion is more convincing for the human consciousness than physical experience. Although nowadays people say, here is the universe, I can see it. But when I see it, when I touch it, I need to interpret it. I need to interpret it. When I try to interpret its existence, I reach the conclusion that in order for this being to come into existence, there must be an absolute power, absolute will, who prefer to create it, to make it exist, rather than remain non-existent. Now, this logical conclusion is more convincing, although if we don't really think about it seriously, we may think that no, physical world is more real. Physical world is more real after trying to make sure that what we are seeing is really true, so that our consciousness, our intelligence can confirm it. But logical conclusions are already confirmed. That is how I understood this phrase. The existence of universe is the divine power is more certain than the existence of the universe.
I see. Yeah. So I think there's a stage when we're reasoning, let's say when we touch something or look at it in the universe, and we wonder about it and we question, okay, so how is it coming into existence? And then that thing shows me that there must be a divine power, knowledge, will. So that comes first in my stages of reasoning, I would think. And that's probably, I think that's what you were kind of what I understood from your point, that it becomes more certain than by basically using my intelligence, consciousness, awareness, reasoning, which concludes about something, logical reasoning.
Even some philosophers suspected whether we are really experiencing the physical world or just an illusion. That is what we read in philosophy.
You broke up, I think. So you said in philosophy?
So let me repeat it. In the history of philosophy, what we read is some philosophers even suspected what we are seeing is whether illusion or real. They couldn't decide about it. Are we just seeing what is in our brain or what really physically exists there? Because I think their suspicion was not was because they didn't really, whether it is illusion or it's real, but logical conclusion is surer than our physical experience.
Thank you. So concluding about these divine power, knowledge, will is one of the most important bases of faith, and the most necessary means to understanding the Quranic truths. So that is whatever we see, observe in the universe, and conclude about it. That is how what the Quranic verses and truths are also pointing to that. Excuse me. So we have to see that. And he gives an example of the verse, your creation and your resurrection is but a single soul. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So there's a comment also by Fariha. She says, but we get to conclude logically only after physical experiences. It goes hand in hand. Correct. Yeah. So logically only after physical experiences.
But even what we are experiencing when we say that it is something going on in our brain, this also needs to be explained. You know, how my brain sees illusions. Who made it? What is the source of existence of my brain? That really is an interesting point. But of course, at this stage, we need to reflect on it more. Excuse me, the translation of the verse you read, your creation and your resurrection is but a single soul. I think this soul means in our language single spirit-like thing, no single being. The same thing. It means ما خلقكم ولا بعثكم إلا كنفس واحدة. Nefs means the same thing. I would translate that your creation and your resurrection is no different from each other. They are the same thing. Either you exist or you are given existence second time, resurrected. Even you, So either you are created now or your next creation will be the same thing. I would understand this nafs wahida. I would say same thing. No, the first translation is the same. No. Inna Allah Sami'un Alim is different. As much as he can, as he know, find another translation. Yeah, for example, I've seen and a translation from someone. He said, your creation or your quickening in resurrection, being resurrected in the hereafter are but as though of a single individual. The other translations all copy each other, actually. These translators copy from each other. Like another one said, like that of a single being is said. I mean, there is no difference between creating and recreating.
Right, I think we got the point. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So basically the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole translation, there are maybe 30, 40 translators are available in the web page I'm following. And
okay.
they actually imitate each other, usually. Okay. But literal translation, usually.
So that shows about the absolute power, will, knowledge. That's the same thing. Life and death, creation, resurrection is the same thing.
Or is indivisible. So we cannot say, oh, it needs more power. No. The same.
And because not everyone has found the way to it through the use of reason, some people have remained bewildered and uncomprehending before power, and others have denied it. And it is therefore necessary to prove an awesome truth concerning divine power. As for the above mentioned basis, foundation means assertion and truth. It is the meaning of the above verse. That is to say, men and jinn, the creation of all of you, and your being resurrected and raised to life at the resurrection is as easy for my power as the creation of a single individual. I guess that's how he explains it, is as easy for my power as the creation of a single individual. Divine power creates the spring as easily as it creates a single flower. For that power, there is no difference between particular and universal, small and large, many and few. It spins planets as easily as it spins particles. Spins planets as easily as it spins particles. Yes, Brother Ali, go ahead.
When if the power is absolute, which is concluded when we experience or when you study the creation in the universe, or whatever needs to everything in the universe needs an absolute power to come into existence. Well, when we concluded this, then we understand that the power of the creator of the universe must be absolute. For the absolute, let us say, I decide to create 1 star or trillion star. That is nothing but will. I willed to create 1 million like this. So in this respect, we understand that for a particle to come into existence, only the will, which prefers to exist, prefers this particle to exist, is the same will, one particle, to create the universe from the beginning to the end. That is one kun fayakun. Everything is, in its existence, demonstrates that every being is nothing but the result of one kun fayakun. Because this is the logical conclusion of the power. If the power must be absolute, so for the absolute power, whole universe must be one will. That's it. I want a universe from the beginning to the end should exist in this way. Preference. That's it.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Fariha, go ahead.
It's a good point, actually, because what I experience here is time and segment, but with my experiences, when we conclude that there must be an absolute source of existence, bringing everything into existence, then, yeah, there's no beginning or no end. Hence, what you shared in reference to the verse, be and it is, kun fayakun, makes sense that within my conclusion, it would make sense to say existence is happening all at once when I conclude something to be the absolute source of existence. Otherwise, if I don't get to the conclusion of an absolute source of existence, I cannot get to the be and it is part. And that's interesting and something to reflect upon. Thank you for sharing.
All right, thank you. Any other comment by anyone?
Sorry, which part did we just read?
Sorry, Ian, go ahead. What did you say?
I'm just curious, what part did we read?
Oh, we're discussing divine power, absolute power, what that is. And the example from one of the verses in the Quran, that the existence of an individual is the same, whether here or resurrection is just one thing. So the whole universe is just one be, and it is like existing from an absolute power standpoint.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I have no further comment at this point in time.
Okay, no worries. If you have, feel free to interrupt anytime you would like.
Thank you. It's very generous.
I just wanted to a little bit reflect further upon this point we made about it is, because I experienced existence from within a time frame, right? Morning, afternoon, evening, months, years, and so on and so forth. So for me, I experienced there's a beginning and end, but once I question the source of existence of what I'm experiencing, how are things happening, then when I can conclude easily that nothing of this universe is bringing all this into existence, so there must be an absolute source of existence. And within that conclusion, at least from what I'm understanding and gathering, is that I mean, there's no time frame. It is just existence. And yeah, so that's pretty much, alhamdulillah, what I gathered from what was shared. And anyone else, please add on what your understanding is as well, so we can all be more firm in our conclusions, inshallah.
Thank you. Yep. Floor is open if anybody would like to comment or share anything. So we'll continue with this in the 9 steps, which we read before. 9 steps. The above Arabic passage expounds a most conclusive, cogent proof of this awesome question. Very briefly, its meaning is as follows. The basis of these steps is indicated by this. For he is powerful over all things with absolute, all-encompassing power, necessary and intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence. It is impossible that the opposite of his power should intervene in his absolute power, for it has no degrees. Equal before it are particles and stars. So equal before his absolute power are particles and stars, particulars and universals, the part and the whole, the seed and the tree. Equal, the small seed and the tree, the world, the whole world, and man. Equal. So when we say absolute being, absolute power, absolute knowledge, what is our understanding behind that? So the author kind of breaks it down a little bit to help us understand that what absolute entails. So whatever the power, knowledge, will is intrinsic, necessary and intrinsic to his being, and impossible for any created being to intervene in his power. And then we discussed earlier about no degrees. There is no high or low level of degree for absolute. It's just one infinite power, knowledge, will. So let's see what the author says.
I'm sorry, I'm just struggling to fully encompass that last sentence that we read. So he is all powerful over all things with absolute, all encompassing power, necessary and intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence. I'm just a little stuck on how I get the
Yes.
idea. Is it possible that the opposite of his power should intervene in it? I get that, for it has no degrees. That's a little bit fuzzy. Equal before it are particles and stars, particulars and universals. Yeah, so something within this first part of the sentence is I'm a little stuck on it. It doesn't resonate with me. Can't comprehend it. He's powerful over all things with absolute, all-encompassing power, necessary and intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence.
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded sentence. You're right. So I think mostly it comes from the verses of the Quran, Wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir, for example, that he is, and it's translated as he is powerful over all things with absolute, all-encompassing power. And then the author extends it further, necessary, intrinsic, that power and knowledge at the absolute level belongs to him, his being. That is who he is. He is powerful, he's knowledgeable at the absolute level. So it's a description of who God is, which is what we're
so
trying
I think
Yeah,
what I'm stuck on is, you know how, for example, in Ayatul Kursi we talk about Allahu, and it points to the absolute unknown, and therefore him being the absolute unknown, we cannot know his essence. I think I'm stuck on that. I just don't know. Maybe the word essence is something I'm struggling with, because there's the relative unknown that we can come to know, but then the absolute unknown. And what I understand is that the essence of the creator is part of the absolute unknown. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, let's hear from Brother Ali.
Yeah, sorry.
Unknown means, excuse me. Unknown means we cannot describe the creator with the qualities of its creation. I mean, what it creates. For example, I cannot describe the essence of the engineer of this computer that I'm using now, laptop, with the qualities of the part of this computer. It is like the metal one or plastic part or the wires, let's say, or the chips, let's say. Well, I cannot describe it. It is completely another existence. It must have a completely another essence of existence. For example, engineer of the computer is a human being and the computer is what he made. Example, this is just an example. And likewise, when I look at the existence of anything of this universe, whether particular or universal, which means whether I look at a tree or I look at the whole universe, imagining the whole universe, galaxies, etc., still I reach the same conclusion. The source of existence of this universe must have a completely different essence. That is why we say it is unknown. Unknown means cannot be describable within the conditions of the universe. Otherwise, the creator is known to human capacity. I am absolutely sure that this computer must have an engineer. I know this conclusion, but I don't know whether the engineer is a woman or man or old man, young man, or the white man, black man. I don't know. That is unknown. I cannot describe it. But existence of the engineer is absolutely sure, because it is inevitable human logical conclusion. So we should not use the word unknown as if we never know at all. We don't know the essence, but we know that his being must have absolute qualities. For example, when I examine the computer in front of me, I understand that the engineer of the computer must have some knowledge, but limited to the capacity of the computer. When I look at the creation of the universe, because creation is different from making a computer. Making a computer is not a creation, it's just combination of the things according to the already existing order of the universe. Whereas the order of the universe is a creation. Every part of the universe is a creation because they are given existence. The computer is not given existence, it's combination, which are already available within the order of the universe. That is why the example should not be understood at the same level. Computer example is an already created, is a machine which is made from already existing things. But the universe and the things within the universe are not given existence from already existent things. The best way of understanding this, think about the whole universe and the order. Where did it come from? Or how can I explain its existence? I have to understand that or conclude that logically, the source of the existence, Brother Ayon, be careful with this. We have to be all actually be careful with this expression. The source of existence of this universe cannot be of the nature of this universe. That is something like an article in a constitution of reasoning. The source of existence of the universe cannot be of the nature of the universe. That is what we call it unknown. It is not unknown in fact. But we cannot describe its essence. But we can say, as I can say, the engineer of the computer must have some knowledge. Now, when I look at the universe, I conclude the maker of the universe, creator of the universe, must have not only some knowledge, but absolute, infinite, limitless knowledge. That is why when the power, the absolute power is used in the text, we should understand this. The capacity of the creator's qualities must be all absolute. All of them must be absolute. Power is a representative of the capacity of the creator. We describe this in a way that cannot be really likened to anything of the universe. That is why we keep saying, or the text also keeps saying, absolute, absolute, absolute knowledge, absolute will, absolute power. Why? Because in the universe, there is no absolute. But we conclude that absolute, all-encompassing power is needed in order to explain the universe. Of course, this paragraph is at the, as the text said, very briefly, its meaning is as follows. It's a brief explanation, and it is the statement of the conclusion of all the reasoning we have been reading for weeks. This is just a concluding paragraph that we are reading. That's why it is difficult to really understand it. But as I understand from Ian's question, essence, we are not describing essence. We are just saying this being must have infinite absolute qualities. That is logically talking about it, not physical description of it. I hope it is a little bit help.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. That was very, very helpful.
Thank you for those comments and sharing that. All right, so do you think we can stop here for now and then we can continue this next time? I think we can. Okay, I can read this and we'll stop at the first step. So that is divine power is such, so divine power is such that it is powerful over all things. That's the kind of divine power. Encompasses all things, is essential to the necessarily existent one, and according to logic, is necessary to him. Necessary to him is an important phrase. It is impossible that it should be separated from him. There is no possibility that it could be separated. Since the most pure and holy essence, so basically God, or whatever we understand from God, possesses such necessary power, impotence, its opposite, could certainly in no way intervene in it. So since he is power, possesses necessary power, impotence, which is the opposite of power, could certainly in no way intervene in it. Impotence could not impinge on the all-powerful essence. So everything in creation is created as impotent. Yes, Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Very simple example in mathematics. For example, when we say infinite, we cannot say that this number, you can imagine the biggest number as much as you can imagine, is not included on it. That's how I understand. Infinite means you cannot think of any number which is not included in it. That is by definition. These are by definition. These are logical conclusions. That is how I understood this here, that in something, what was it? Cannot intervene in it. Yeah. Impotence, being not enough, could not impeach or before this, intervene in no way. So it is opposite. It is opposite means impotence, it is opposite of power, could certainly in no way intervene in it. It means we cannot say that this symbol represents infinite, but in this infinite, this number is not included. We cannot say this. These are logical conclusions, but belief must be based on logical conclusion, not general acceptance. That is why the logical conclusions are sure evidence for us, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you. So since the existence of degrees in a thing occurs through the intervention of its opposite, Existence of degrees in a thing occurs through the intervention of its opposite. For example, the degrees and levels of heat occur through the intervention of cold, and the degrees of beauty through the intervention of ugliness. Impotence, the opposite of this essential power, can in no way approach it. There is no possibility whatsoever that it could. There can be no degrees in that absolute power. Since there can be no degrees in it, stars and particles are equal to that power, and there are no differences for that power between the part and the whole, or an individual and a species. The raising to life of a seed in a huge tree, and the universe and man, and one individual and all beings with spirits at the resurrection of the dead, is equal in relation to that power, and all are equally easy. So infinite power. There is no difference between great and small, many and few. Decisive witnesses to this truth are the perfect art, order, balance, distinction, and profusion that we see in the creation of things with absolute speed, absolute ease, and complete facility. Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
When we say they are equally easy, easy for the creator, absolute power. So for the absolute power, we cannot say that, no, to create the galaxies are more difficult than creating a cat. But if it is absolute, infinite, there is no numbers which are bigger than the other one in it. No. Every number equally is present in infinite. But if we find it hard to understand this last piece we read, it is normal, because this is the concluding paragraph. Concluding paragraph. This is not the demonstrating the reasoning. As a result of reasoning, demonstrations have been given to us pages before. This is just the conclusion. That's why if we find it a bit hard to digest, we have to be patient and reason and read the previous pages, explanations, and try to get the idea of absolute, how absolute is necessary for the creator to have absolute qualities. We have to comprehend this first. And then the conclusion, we understand that, yeah, for the creator, creating a microbe must be not more difficult, so easier, or excuse me, let's change the example. Creating a galaxy must be more difficult than creating a microbe. No, for absolute, there is no more, there is no less, because there is no degrees for the absolute. We cannot say, we cannot speak about degrees. These are all logical conclusions.
Inshallah, we will try to digest this. Thank you for your comment. So next time, inshallah, we'll continue with this topic about how we can understand the absolute. I'll stop here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma. Any comment? Yeah.
I would like to know where I could. Where is this located in the book so I can peruse over it in my spare time?
This is a book called The Rays. It's a little higher level book from the author's work. Yeah, but I'll close the session, then we can talk. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bi hurmati suratul Fatiha.